won't none! You don't want none!
What's going on, Tar Heel Nation? It is your favorite North Carolinian, Russ the Tar Heel. And in this huddle, baby, we're going to talk about the North Carolina Tar Heels taking on the Pitt Panthers in the ACC Tournament Semi-Finals for a chance to play for a conference title. So, how did these two teams get to this point? Well, Pitt came out of their double bye, and the sixth man of the year, Ishmael Leggett, season high, 30 points, helped hold off the Wake Forest Demon Deacons late run, whereas the Heels were basically polishing skyscraper windows because these guys were absolutely cleaning the glass against FSU, out-rebounded them 48-22, bro. Just did not give them any chance. No, that is not a typo, 48-22. Now, both teams are looking good, so this is going to be a very intriguing matchup between both of these teams. So, without further ado, let's get into this thing. North Carolina and Pitt met one other time this year, which resulted in a 70-57 UNC victory over the Panthers in Pittsburgh in their first game of 2024. Armando Bacot had 16 and 10, and he reached the 2,000 career point marker as RJ had 15. Cormac and Seth both added 10 points themselves, respectively. Now, Carlton Carrington led the way for the Panthers with 20 points, and then Hinson only had 11, and Leggett was held to 4. Remember, Hinson just scored 20 in his game against Wake, and Leggett just went completely off his stinking rocker for 30, and, these guys only had 15 points against Carolina, but they scored 50 against the Deacs earlier. But this isn't January, okay? This is March, and both of these teams have been playing really good basketball as of late. Now, the Panthers are averaging 75.8 points per game, and they're giving up 67.5 points per game. The Heels, on the other hand, are averaging 81.6 points per game, and they're giving up 70.1 points per game. Now, the Pitt Panthers are led by former Dookie himself, Jeff Capel, who has amassed a 97-91 record at Pitt, good for a .516 winning percentage. The Panthers' leading scorer is 6'8", 230-pound first-team All-ACC senior forward Blake Hinson, who is averaging 18.8 points per game, 4.6 rebounds, and 0.8 assists. He's shooting 46.1% from the floor and 42.4% from three. He scored 20 points against the Dinks, and he is going to be a really intriguing matchup. The dude's 6'8", all right? So that's going to be something that we need to take into consideration a little bit later on. The Panthers' leading rebounder is 6'3", 185-pound ACC sixth man of the year, junior guard Ishmael Leggett, who is averaging 11.9 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, and 2 assists. He's shooting 41.9% from the field and 34.4% from three. Ishmael dumped 30 on the Deacs, so he will be someone the Heels are going to have to check. And lastly, the Panthers' leading assist man is 6'5", 190-pound freshman guard Carlton Carrington, who's averaging 13.6 points per game, 5.2 boards, and 4.2 assists. He's shooting 40.7% from the field and 34.1% from three. And now that we've looked at the Pitt Panthers, let's take a look at the one-seeded North Carolina Tar Heels, who are led by the 2024 ACC Coach of the Year, Hubert Davis. Coach Davis is in his third year as the head coach at his alma mater and has amassed a 75-25 record, which is good for a .721 winning percentage. The Heels' leading scorer is 6', 180-pound Atlantic Coast Conference Player of the Year and senior guard R.J. Davis, who's averaging 21.1 points per game, 3.7 rebounds, and 3.5 assists. He's shooting 43.2% from the floor and 40% from three. RJ had 18 against the Noles in the quarterfinal round. North Carolina's leading rebounder is the 6'11", 240-pound second team All-Atlantic Coast Conference and senior forward Armando Bacot, who's averaging 13.9 points per game, 10.1 rebounds, and 1.6 assists. He's shooting 54% from the floor and 77.9% from the charity stripe. And last but not least, their 6'1", 180-pound freshman point guard, Elliot Cadeau, who's averaging 7.7 points per game, 2 boards, and 4 assists. He's shooting 44.4% from the floor and 21.6% from 3. Elliott had a really solid game against the Seminoles with 8 points and 6 assists. But even that paled in comparison to the spark that he gave that Carolina defense by diving all over the floor for loose ball after loose ball. When your freshman point guard is playing like that, when he's leaving it all on the hardwood, it's going to get everyone else hyped, and they're going to leave it on the court as well. Cormac's been coming into his own on both sides of the floor. Harrison Ingram is consistently hovering around double figures in points and rebounds. And you already know that we got to watch Seth off of the bench along with Withers and Washington to round out Carolina's game-to-game rotation. So now that we've taken a look at the Heels and the Panthers, let's get in to Russ's 3 keys to victory. And key number 1 off the jump, man, Tar Heel toughness. Jeff Capel, the ex-pile of Dookie himself, was quoted as talking about how soft the Heels were here recently. Well, as the kids say these days, bet. Carolina showed Pitt just how tough they were in early January, and they have not let off the gas at all since then. North Carolina needs to take it into the chest of the Pitt Panthers. They're going to talk. They're going to be physical. But this North Carolina team is different. This North Carolina team is the toughest team in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Show them again. Key number 2. It's got to be inside out, bro. This is one of those games where I'm trying to feed the ball into Slime, a.k.a. Armando Bacot, as often as I can. Let him go to work, bro, and soften up that interior Pitt defense to help open up those shots on the outside. Mondo was successful in the first matchup, and I think we need to pound it down into him again. Let Mondo cook. And key number 3, got to get the guards going, man. Pitt was extremely active on their collapses against the Deacs, with their hands constantly swatting at the ball when the bigs were on the low block posted up. If they want to collapse those bigs, if they want to collapse down on Carolina's bigs, we have the shooters to make them pay. RJ, Cormac, Harrison, they need to be stroking it from 3. Got to get those guards going. And that'll lead us to Russ's score prediction. This is going to be a battle. Both of these teams are tough. Everybody knows that Pitt prides themselves on being tough historically, but this North Carolina team has proven that they can win games in multiple ways. You can slow it down or you can speed it up. We can bang, pause, or we can go finesse. Pitt is tough, but the Heels are tougher. Carolina imposes themselves on the Panthers, and they walk away with a fairly close victory. I'm taking North Carolina getting the victory, 73-68, to advance to the ACC Finals. So let me know what you think about my score prediction down in the comment section, Tar Heel and Panther Nation. Is your boy onto something, or am I sitting at the end of the bitch with my bifocals on, just happy to wear a uniform? If you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe to the channel, and shout out to my Huddle Hooligans who helped me keep the lights on. There will be a live stream tomorrow, Carolina versus Pitt, 7 p.m. So come hang out with your favorite North Carolinian and the rest of Tar Heel Nation. I love you guys. Go Heels. And we'll see you at the live stream, baby.